I beat that booty up from the front.
For those of you who know, Season 2 of Tekken 8 has 4 characters in it. We already know who the first 3 are, and that's Anna, Fakaram, and Armor King. And all 3 of these characters are returning characters, but more specifically, returning DLC characters. They were DLC in Tekken 7, now they're DLC in Tekken 8. And some people don't like this, right? Some people want it to be fresh, new, guest, original, whatever the case may be. They will satisfy that hunger a little bit with one new character. Only one. Now, the developers told us that the colors represent the character. The new character, I mean, there's not really much for us to go off of, when trying to pin down the color. Of course, there was a whole conversation about how the colors is somewhat similar to Marduk, and is this Marduk's successor because Marduk's story, the Armor King, and etc. Another way that we were looking at this previously is different flags from all over the world, and I believe there was I may be getting this wrong, but the flags that was kind of this color was the New Mexico flag of America, and then it was the Kazakhstan. I think those were the 2 that was similar. But other than that, that's all we really had to go off of. But then there's also this second conversation revolving around the final character of will it be male or female. Now, a lot of people look at this season 2 character pass and they see 2 male, 1 female, and they say it should most certainly be a female because that would even it out. But the way that I was looking at it is from the angle of new characters for Tekken 8 and not necessarily the DLC, right? When you look at the Tekken 8 new characters, you have Reina, Victor, and you have Azazina. So when you look at the new originals, there's 2 female and 1 male. And then I was thinking that they would probably do another male to balance that out. So there's 2 different ways I guess you could look at it, right? But we're basically one step closer to the riddle being solved. But I guess it depends on how you perceive this. Wolfmaker is a person who does art for Tekken. So this person works with the developers. He knows the characters in advance and he creates custom art for them, right? He also does character panels and whatnot, right? You can see Haronk stuff here. Some of this stuff is old and just reshared, but some of this stuff is bro, just be constantly whipping up new ideas. You have the Asuka, right? You have the Anna. Bro really be in the studio getting busy. Yesterday, bro tweeted this. The 3rd DLC character for Season 2 is a new character, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of character he is. There are many fascinating characters who have participated in the series, so I would love to see them return. This is a very confusing and kind of contradictory statement, and I don't think this is, I just think English isn't bro's first language, right? So maybe there was some Google Translate in here, obviously things are a little off. But if we analyze what bro is trying to say. So the 3rd DLC, that first part will be referring to Armor King. But then when it goes on to say for Season 2 is a new character, that completely reshapes it. Saying new character is directly pointing at the new original character. And then when you say I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of character he is, that is kind of confirming the new character to be a male. And then the 3rd DLC part, that more so is just a typo type of thing. So that's what players were thinking. Players, when they seen this tweet, it started to get a lot of traction, and a lot of people was like, he, the final character's he. People were starting to run with it, right? Even I made a tweet. I'll show you that in a second. But the second part where it says there are many fascinating characters who have participated in the series, so I would love to see them return. So that part seems like it's tackling a whole nother subject of returning characters like Lei, Marduk, etc. Right? We'll see what happens in Season 3. I think Season 3 will probably be Marduk, Julia, Miguel, and then maybe a guest character, but we'll see. But everyone started to pick up on the he, as well as myself, and I tweeted this. Tekken 8 character artist Wolfmaker seemingly confirmed Season 2 new challenger will be a male fighter. And then I quoted the tweet that this person made. Now, as this started to get blow up, bro try to correct, because it basically would be a leak. It would be somewhat categorized under a leak because it's not supposed to be said yet, right? It's supposed to be revealed way later. Bro slipped up. That's basically what it was looking like. But bro said he is also a mistake. I translated this Japanese and it said something along the lines of this was a mistake, or like, this wasn't, basically bro was just saying like, I messed up twice, right? And that's because a lot of people were latching on to the he. And then after this, bro deleted the original tweet and this tweet, and put out this tweet instead, which says, sorry, I deleted the post, it was misleading. And bro hasn't really said anything else, right? And now we're stuck sitting here with the question of, was this actually just a mishmash of like, mistranslations, and that gave us the wrong idea? Or was this actually bro saying like, oh yeah, he this, and then now we know it's a he? Me personally, going back to what I said at the start, I definitely think this final character is going to be a he. And this is a kind of a different subject, well, a different topic of this subject, but when you talk about Tekken, male characters are more popular. Reina is kind of shaking that up because she, according to Harada, last we heard, she was the most popular character in the game. And that's taken into consideration offline, online, ranked, and Azazina isn't too far behind her. You could play into that aspect and give people the more waifus, the better.
Johnny Lung has donated CA $5.00 and says, just wanna say I appreciate how you are always able to pump out a Tekken video every day, even when nothing's happening, LOL.
Trying to figure out what this character's fighting style is and where this character will be from, that's always super fascinating. Because I mean, if we just look at this here, right, we have Armor King, who's from NA, we have Anna, who's from EU, we have Fakaram, who's from Asia. What other continents are missing? We have South America, we have Africa, which a lot of people were saying bring like an Africa type character, but there's certain continents that's missing because the developers will try to represent a new region, right? I doubt this will be like another American or another like EU place that's already been represented. It probably will be 100% a new location. It's definitely Leo's dad. Okay, all right. Let's talk about Leo's dad. April 1st, 2024. It says, not a leak. I don't think so anyways, in parentheses. But I think Leo's dad was intended to be playable at one point in story mode. 1% chance I could be wrong and he becomes DLC. This screenshot is basically one of those screenshots where you can see like all of the different type of characters who have like move properties to them. You can see Victor's there, Azazel's there, Raven there, right? These are all characters you can play in this, or not play in the story, but like fight in the story, and they have like a move list type of thing, right? So I mean, it could happen. Sitting here saying like, nah, they won't do that. I mean, they could do it. But also the thing about Germany, I feel like giving them Leo's dad would be like a slap in the face. You don't like the character Leo? Here's Leo's dad. What? You could have chose a worse dad. People would be more excited for Brian Fury's dad, Yoshi's dad, Dragunov's dad, King's dad. Like, if we're throwing dads into the mix, why Leo? Even if you look at his ending with Leo, his personality just seems like something that I'm not interested in. We have enough of this like goofball, funny type of like character.
VTEC King has donated $10 and says new original character possibilities are endless.
Tekken players have unanimously said, we don't want weapons, we don't want magic. That significantly reduces what you're able to do. Now, I don't think the players would have said that if Tekken 8 didn't offer some of the most ridiculous weapons and abilities known to Tekken, right? Because I think like they did it in ways that it was balanced in past Tekken. Devil Jin, Yoshimitsu has a sword, Armor King's purple breath, Anna's purple breath. They had these like weird abilities, Alyssa's chainsaws, even though Alyssa's kind of like an annoying character. That was one example of it like somewhat working. I think they were able to do these like super crazy fighting styles in the past and make it work. But now with Tekken being so far gone from what Tekken originally is, so that's why the players push back against it and is trying to put all these limitations on what they want, and I don't blame the players for that. And I don't even think that the players are fully against the idea of a weapon character. And the example that I would bring up is how people said that Josie would have been better if she had a weapon. Josie uses the fighting style that has the little two wooden sticks, but in Tekken 7 she doesn't actually have it. And people was like, why not? Give her the sticks. People probably wouldn't say that anymore after playing Tekken 8, but before Tekken 8 added all this nonsense, that's what people wanted. And that's my point, is like before things went south, players loved the idea. So it's just about them, delivering on what Tekken was and trying to stay true to that and not turn it into like abilities everywhere.